Hi VC, Dark Dove back with you. Uh, Last weekend, for those of you who follow Ben, for many of you who follow Ben Costello's channel, you'll know that I made a couple of cameo appearances in his two most recent updates. It was hugely enjoyable, and it was a great privilege to visit the Costello Towers and check out Ben's very impressive vinyl collection, and I really enjoyed doing that VC meet those two VC meetup videos with him, which we shot in quick succession, and I'm absolutely eternally grateful to Ben for that fantastic VCLT which he gave me. Um, I'll be shooting two separate videos because this video I just want to show primarily two big hauls which I made in the last few weeks. So primarily flea market and charity shop vinyl hauls. Last weekend, okay, so 2 weeks ago, um, weekend before last, I went down home to where I come from, to my visiting my folks. Stayed for a couple of days in a place called Glengarriff, which um, Jimmy Earl of Swab, you'll be well familiar with the place. You were there yourself recently, and Ben. So I stopped off along the way in a town called Bantry, which is not a particularly big town. It's maybe about 2 or 3 thousand people. But on the first Friday of every month, there's a fair held in the town square, and it has its origins as a agricultural fair, but these days it's more of a kind of open air flea market, really. There's still a bit of an agricultural element to it. You still see live, well, more things like hens and chickens and ducks and so forth. But it's really a kind of a big open air flea market with people selling those stalls and people selling all kinds of stuff. Stopped off for an hour or two, and off the bus, and there's been people got vinyl in the past there, so came across there was a couple with it was all outdoor, so they had this big long um, collection of vinyl, and so eagerly had a look through it. It was a lovely sunny day, and a lot of the stuff they had was kind of middle of the road, but I did make some very nice discoveries. First off, I actually found not one but two copies of this. Now, the other copy, I've kept this one. The other copy I gave to Ben, as anyone who saw Ben's or myself and Ben's double header video will know. So I was very happy to find. So this is the Batman. Well, technically speaking, it's not really the kind of song. Okay, it was released in 1989 by Prince, um, in conjunction with the Batman movie. Now, a few of the tracks are on the movie, but it's not. It's anyway. Um, So, pretty nice copy. I don't generally tend to see this in the wild, so so I was very pleased to come across two copies, and I asked them how much. I was expecting to probably be looking for quite a bit for it, but they said everything was €2.50. So that all records there, irrespective of what they were. So €2.50, roughly kind of equivalent to $2.50. So yeah. So not Prince's best album. There is one absolute stinker of a song, "The Arms of Orion," where he does a duet with I don't think, Sheena Easton, I think. Uh, oh, dreadful song, um, but overall, it's a pretty decent album and difficult one to find. I don't think I've seen it, very rarely seen it in the wild, and not one that goes, not definitely not one that tends to be cheap. So I got the two of them for a great price, and the other one has gone to Costello Towers. So everything there was €2.50. I found a few want list items, including this. Okay, very common album, but one that I was missing, the Human League Dare. Um, those of you who remember myself and Ben, we did a big haul in a remote farmhouse. We bought a load of records. I remember I found I think it was Ben actually found it, but I actually left it behind. I forgot it at the time. So very pleased to get this, to pick it up finally. I know it's a very common album, but it's one that I was missing. So a pretty nice copy. It's a Dutch pressing. So Goo. I'm more of a fan of their early experimental kind of sci-fi influence, kind of J.G. Ballard, stuff. But that's very decent pop album. It's definitely worth having in any collection. Again, another very common album which I was missing. Her Harvest, her just Ridge by Mike Oldfield. Just gonna have to glue that, I think. So yeah, very common album, but one I was missing. Yeah, very decent. Nice album. Follow up. I think it was the second one. Was this from '74? Follow up to Tubular Bells. So next up, very nice find. The Other Side of Round Midnight by Dexter Gordon. Now, many of you may have seen a movie called Round Midnight, a French movie which came out in 1986, in which Dexter Gordon kind of essentially played himself, played the part of a American jazz musician in Paris in the 50s. There was an official soundtrack album to that. This is essentially a follow up to that soundtrack. So I think basically they just used. I think they just kind of they just recorded more material and released this follow up. So there's quite a lineup on this. It's basically a kind of a roll call of Ron Carter, Herbie Hancock, John McLaughlin, Billy Higgins, Wayne Shorter. Absolute roll call. It is on EMI. Yeah. So, oh no, sorry, it's on Blue Note. What am I saying? It's on Blue Note. Yeah, very decent album. It's basically not groundbreaking stuff or anything, but it just has absolute great lineup of musicians just doing what they do best, and to pick it up for €2.50, it can't go wrong there. Again, Very nice pickup. XTC with Black Sea. Third or fourth album, not 100% sure. This came out in 1980. Just there, there's a insert. So yeah, this is. I picked up. I have the only other one of their albums I have is English Settlement, and yeah, this is again, this is a fairly common enough album, but I think to pick it up for €2.50 is an original press is pretty decent, very decent price for that. Generals and Majors is probably the most well-known track of this. Yeah, so I think that's it. Yeah, so I was kind of in a hurry. My bus was due to leave soon, so I when I think back of it, there was quite a few other albums there that I probably could have grabbed, but yeah, pretty happy with what I grabbed there. Especially with the Prince soundtrack, very nice price for that. While I was before I spotted those sellers, I had a quick look around in the charity shops in the town, because I made some nice finds there in the past. One charity shop, I came across a couple of 80s 12 inches. This is a band called Opposition, and this is called Innocent, which came out in Virgin in 1984. Pretty decent, kind of post-punk, echoing the Bunnymen kind of a vibe. So yeah, not bad at all. The other one I picked up, this is also from 1984. It's by a band called The Puka Makes Three, and it's called Take It Back. Not very impressed with this one. This is also on Virgin. Didn't particularly like this one. Not impressed with that. And the third and final find in that charity shop was a copy of Emerson, Lake and Palmer Brain Salad Surgery, which is minus the sleeve. It's just the disc, which is a pity, because it has that iconic artwork by what's his name, Geiger, H.R. Geiger. But yeah, it's just a disc. I haven't actually listened to this yet. Anyway, that's that. That was my day at the fair. So, well, it's still referred to as a fair, like a kind of a like a country fair, kind of agricultural fair. But technically speaking, it's a big open air flea market. But okay, so that's that. Now, last weekend, actually on the day before I called up to the Ben up to Limerick, I popped into a charity shop here in Cork. It's a charity shop which I don't usually call into. It's a little bit outside the city centre. I call in there maybe once every couple of months just to see if there's anything. But this time, I noticed there was a big box of vinyl out, maybe about 30 records in total. So eagerly had a flick through them. First 5 or so weren't very promising, but then I started coming across interesting stuff. First off is this sampler on the Transatlantic label. It's called Listen Here, a Transatlantic Sampler, and it's got a pretty decent lineup there. The Pentangle, Burt-Jansch, John Redburn. Really like that cover. It's kind of almost psychedelic influenced, cartoony kind of a cover. This came out in 1969, and it's in really nice shape. Very clean record for a record that's 47 years old. Beautiful laminated sleeve as well. In excellent shape. Had a listen to it. It was really nice. Really nice selection on here. So very pleased with that. Second find, as I was flicking through, was this, and it's another sampler on the Transatlantic label. This is one I've seen around a bit. Usually, I've seen it for a couple of sellers. I've been generally looking for about 15 euros for this. It's a contemporary guitar sampler, and again featuring Burt-Jansch, John Redburn, Pentangle, and also featuring a couple of tracks by John Fahey. John Fahey, the legendary blues guitarist. So yeah, Transatlantic again, and again, absolutely stunning, clean copy. So lovely find. And just 2 seconds. Yeah, so flicking through through it further, I made, well, what I personally, what I consider the top best of the finds. Spotted the name John Fahey and the Yellow Princess. This is an original UK copy on Vanguard from 1968, and this is an absolutely stunning copy. Yeah, it's barely played. This is just very rare, very hard to find. John Fahey in the wild, and I'm sure it's probably the same over in the States as well. Original copies of his albums do tend to be quite pricey, and very hard to. Well, I don't know if they're common in thrift shops over there, but certainly over here, they're a rare find. So absolutely delighted to find this. This is love John Fahey. Absolutely, just it's just his guitar playing is just he kind of transcended the genre, basically, the blues genre, and just kind of had a complete style of his own. By the way, Fahey, it's an Irish surname, and we tend to pronounce it Fahey over here. So I was kind of weird when I hear him referred to as John Fahey, but for convenience sake, that's how his name is pronounced. So internationally, so but yeah, absolutely delighted with this. And the only kind of bit of damage on it is a little bit of a tear here on the sleeve. So it's a spotless copy. Absolutely delighted with that find. Okay, so Yeah, a few more finds. A couple of comedy records there. Not the 9 o'clock news. That was a British TV comedy series from the early 80s. That's where Rowan Atkinson made his made his first kind of big break, and uh, Pamela Stevenson. She went on to marry Billy Connolly. So I see that this is pretty common. This album I've seen around a lot, but I just decided to grab it because it was cheap. And back with Rowan Atkinson again. Stand-up comedy album, Rowan Atkinson Live in Belfast, which was recorded in 1980. For those of you who are only familiar with Rowan Atkinson for Mr. Bean, um, he really is a comic genius, and I like Mr. Bean is quite frankly his least funny creation. As any for anyone who kind of is more familiar with his wider comedy work, will attest. The three other records which I grabbed as part of this haul. Now this was a really this was pretty unusual because this seemed to kind of stand out from the rest of the stuff. But this is Laurent Garnier. Laurent Garnier, the French DJ. So this is techno is a genre which I know it's produced a lot of bad music, but this is good techno. This is decent techno. Laurent Garnier. This is called Shot in the Dark. This was his debut album. It's from 1994. So very happy to pick up a nice, decent, original copy of that cheaply. And put that back in there. Now the last two finds are pretty interesting. I'll just show them to you there. Just bear with me 2 seconds. This is something which I picked up. I think this is something. Now, this is something I'll probably try and sell. But Johnny Burnett sings. Johnny, I suppose kind of country or country rock and roll singer, active in the 50s. This is a UK copy from 1961 on London Records, and what's really interesting about it is that it's a test pressing. Don't know if you can see that. Yeah, it's a factory sample. So and the other weird thing about it is that it's actually single-sided. It only has the side one of the album, and the other side is blank. It's like it's just smooth vinyl. There's nothing recorded onto it. So yeah, so this is pretty unusual. I'd say I could definitely say this is extremely rare. There's a few scratches on it, but I played it and it plays perfectly. Like with no pops or crackles or anything. So yeah, I haven't really been able to find out much pricing information, but it is something which I think I will probably end up trying to sell. Next up, final item from that charity shop score is Martin Carty, and this is Sweet Wibbles Field is the name of this album. Martin Carty, major figure in the English folk music revival in the 60s and 70s. This album was from 1974. It's released on DRAM, and this is yet another test factory test pressing. As you can see there, see the name of the album, and everything is written in biro. This is double-sided, so again, I'm sure a pretty rare item. I don't know how many. Generally, I don't know too much about these factory test pressings, but I wouldn't imagine that there'd be a whole lot of copies of them pressed. So yeah, very nice to find that. Each one of these were less than €2, I think, maybe, because I got them in they were looking for €3 each, but as I got a big bunch of them, I did get there was a they did discount the price, so I think I ended up paying less than €2 each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, so eight albums in total. So extremely happy with these transatlantic samplers and the John Fahey, and Laurent Garnier, of course, and not 100% sure if I'll hang on to this one or not, the Martin Carty, and this one, the Johnny Burnett. I think I will definitely, probably, yes, I will definitely be selling that, I think. So that's it. I will be doing another update soon, because I've a lot of other pickups to show, and so till then, hope everybody has a great weekend.